Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning. Monday morning, here we are. Hey, Bill, what's going on? Hey, AOD. So, we're looking at a little uptrend here overnight on both indices. We're right at this resistance level. Hey, Jesse, good morning. So yeah, we need to be cautious of any longs until we really clear this level. This could turn into one big trading range here. So especially watching for that on the Nasdaq. Also going to make sure I have my opening price marked out. Sorry, yesterday's closing price. Might actually be right there. Yeah, we're pretty much right on it. So not a significant enough gap for me to mark out. Slightly more significant on the S&P. Our gap's right here. What's up, Toad? Good morning. Homies, not homelies. Or maybe both, you know? Some of us are beautiful on the inside, metaphorically, not literally. We're getting started Monday morning off with some jokes, guys. I like it. Bringing that energy in the new week. What we need. And today is Monday, obviously. No news today. It's a no news Monday, which, you know, can sometimes lead to some lackluster price action, but we will wait and see. Morning, Cricket. We do have some pretty big news this week, though. CPI and PPI are Thursday and Friday. So, you know, the market's, that's going to be a big one. The market's waiting for that. And earnings does start this week, but won't really pick up for a couple weeks. So none of the major tech companies are reporting this week. Let me see if I can pull up who exactly is reporting. I know no one major this week, but let's see. I don't have it pulled up yet. But anyway, there's no major companies this week. It will be coming. Good morning, Gene. Good morning. Everyone else popping in. Happy Monday to y'all. I think this is going to be a pretty decent week of trading, guys. Johnny, no, let's not start the week off like that. I have reloaded my chart, so as I say, it's you, not me. But just as a precaution, I'm gonna reload my charts again. Toad says his win rate under 45 seconds is 85%. Interesting. So you're really good at predicting those really quick moves, but maybe not the stuff that chops around for a while and then eventually goes your way. That's interesting, Toad. Well, maybe, you know, depending on how big that sample size is, maybe you might want to consider setting a time limit on your trades. If it's not hitting your target within a minute, maybe you cut it. That would be an interesting one to study, see if your overall performance improves that way. Hey, Matt, good morning. Got about 10 minutes to the open. Jesse, thanks for sharing your experience with the Discord. Appreciate it. And yeah, man, I think, as I've said before, I am very committed in making the Discord community the best one in the space. And we have a lot of great traders there. People are very supportive. Good place to be, good place to trade with. Much like this chat. Gene says, I am short at the maximum that the ES made, waiting for a setback that will make me victorious. Woo. Shorting an all-time high. That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. I'm on mute. On the S&P, we were clearly above yesterday's high, and I would be interested in a long if that holds. So looking for, when the market opens, for us to get a pullback, hold this area, And then we might be able to see some continuation to the upside. On the Nasdaq, we are not yet above that level. As you can see, potential trading range, we're just now testing it, so we really do have to get above that area and confirm it like so for us to get along. So the ES currently looks more compelling, so going to be watching that carefully. Morning, Neil. Morning, Neil. Hey, Shayak. Alright, we got 6 minutes till the market opens. Vitamin time, guys. It's vitamin and water time. Let's get the new week started off right. And as you can see, back is the crowd favorite, the Chug Jug. We're back and we're getting serious about our hydration again this week. Jesse is asking about a whiterish channel on the Nasdaq. I think, you know, I could be convinced of that, depending on what happens here at the open. Yeah, I mean, you could draw it like this. That makes a lot of sense. But considering that we're at the top of the range, we could very easily correct here, and then a narrower channel might be in play. So because of where we're at on the chart, you could kind of go either way. And so rather than the channel kind of being our guide on this one, again, I'm watching this level to be our guide. If we can break above this and hold it, that's enough for me to trust an uptrend. But if we cannot hold this level, then possible reversal in play. But because we're at an all-time high, I don't really feel comfortable playing the reversal. So would rather see continuation. Toad saying this looks similar to Friday. You know, let's try to remember what day that was. One of those days. Yeah, I think that was last Tuesday when we had this uptrend right here. Headed up to right at like the all-time high resistance, and then we ended up rallying all day, so maybe that can happen again. All right. Market will be open here in 10 seconds. We do have to be careful of a gap reversal. Our gap is widening here. We got about almost 10 points. There's the opening bell. Let's see what happens. Nasdaq immediately turning down off that resistance, so that was exactly what I was talking about earlier. And already that is making me think that this channel is already played out, so we're not gonna have a rally if the Nasdaq's not rallying. Just ain't gonna happen. So kind of expecting the S&P to drop here, but it hasn't yet. It's still strong. And there we go, another push up on the S&P. Defying all odds. I agree, Daryl. S&P just wants to go to the moon right now. And if the Nasdaq can join, they will enjoy that together. Oh boy, here goes the Nasdaq. Big old candle up. Look at that thing, man. Holy cow. What is going on? It finally got the memo from the S&P. Oh, we're going up. Oh, okay. Let's do that. Let's do that. S&P unfazed. Continuing to rocket here. So this does look like a trend has played out on the Nasdaq now though, because we did have this move up, break new high, and again we're right at this resistance, so unless we can really get above it, you know, see a push up here and then retest, I'm wary of any long trades on the Nas. The ES on the other hand is just kind of in its own world there. Johnny, I do know how to add a midline to my channels. Yep. Pretty simple. Just double click. Go to parallel. And then levels. Right here. So double click. Parallel levels. And you can set it there. Nasdaq dropping down again. So yeah, I don't think this is going to rally here. Nasdaq very heavy, likely to bring down the S&P with it. Here's the pullback on the S&P. I'm kind of not expecting it to hold, really. Look at this drop on the Nasdaq. I mean, there's just such a big divergence between the two indices. I think this short move is going to win over. I think the S&P is going to drop. I'd actually be interested in a Nasdaq short here if we can pull back and get a second entry. That gap's filled too, by the way. We have no more gap to fill. And I still might be convinced on a S&P long, depending on how it looks here. We have our pullback on our first entry. As you can see, pullback, first entry. Let's see one more pullback. We really want this EMA to hold strong. Now that technically was our second entry, because after prices came up, we came down one more time. And I think, I wasn't really watching. I think we went down first and then up. If so, that's our second entry. But either way, this is not something we're going to trade. We're not even touching the EMA. This all visually looks like one entry anyway, so we just need to see one more pullback to the EMA for it to hold. Nasdaq, we still might get a short, but this kind of feels like a V-shaped reversal, to be honest. Move down, we're looking for a short. We technically do have a first entry, and we tick below this bar. That would be a second entry. Actually, that looks pretty decent, but I don't know. Look at all these bull bars stacked, and look at the strength of the S&P. I don't know. I'm not super convinced by it. I'm probably gonna hold off, but it could work. I mean, it is a second entry. The Nasdaq has been very weak, so you know, if you take this trade, I totally understand why. It triggered already, so you'd be in this. DJ Extremo, what's going on? That kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff is in the description. What chart I'm trading, platform, EMA, all that. So, but it's the 21 EMA. Okay, let's go S&P. Drop down a little bit more. Show us what you're made of. Give us a bull bar, and then we'll do this thing. Now here on the Nasdaq is where I might be interested. We had our second entry. We can get a lower high confirmation and the EMA keeps holding. I would be much more interested in this short. But if this makes a higher high, forget about it. So it really all depends on this bar right here. I like that lower high. It closes right around here. I might have to take it. But not looking like it. Yep. Bull bar, forget about it. We do have one more chance on this next one. This turns around sharply and ends in a bearish bar. But again, if this makes a higher high, forget about it. Yep, there's our higher high, so never mind on the Nasdaq. Ooh, that was a pretty decent bar though. Turned down sharply. Alright, I'm gonna look away because that's just a little too tempting. See what's happening on the S&P, see if we can get that bullish bar at the EMA. This is what we're looking for here. I like this bar. I like the uptrend. I like that the Nasdaq is now moving higher. It's a big bar though. Still can get 1-to-1 on it. I think we're gonna do a limit order though and try to get a retracement. Hopefully my order's working right. I got it in, so yeah, cool. It's triggered. We're gonna give her a whirl. Hoping for that new high. I think we have a really strong context for it. And we'll trail the stop as this goes in our favor. The Nasdaq is now above the EMA, so that is helpful to our cause. Come on, baby. Push up. That was a real strong bar. Let's get some follow through. We get one more green bar here. I will trail the stop. Nasdaq kind of looks like it wants to drop. That's no bueno. There we go. Look at that bar. It's beautiful. Tightening up our risk a little bit. I don't really want to see it pull back at all. I'm going to trail a little bit more because the Nasdaq's dropping. Looking for that new high. Buyers are stepping up on the Nasdaq, so that is a great sign. Cool. Now I'm just going to be trailing each bar. Need that push up though. We do have that new high. Want to see some follow through. This might be the breaking new high and reversal, unfortunately. Dang, Nasdaq is just not participating today. So that's all right. Had a chance to be a massive trade, so we wanted to give it plenty of room and let it do its thing. And we'll take that covered our commission, so no big deal. No big deal. Pylord, yes, that was a second entry long. Not technically, I don't think. We zoom in. Technically, our second entry was right here and then right here. But really, what's really important with that is the visual aspect of things. So, you know, you're looking for a second entry. You know that's what you want. And you get a pullback to the EMA, big strong bull bar. That's what you're looking for. Yeah, some people would call that a double trap, which is basically when your second entry gets stopped out and then that immediately reverses. So it's essentially a third entry. Whatever you want to call it, it's a bull bar. It's right on the EMA. We're in an uptrend. We're expecting a new high. I don't think you can go wrong with that one. Congrats to anyone who took that, and maybe you got out with the scalp. That's great. The Nasdaq is now launching up on this bar. IX still holding, nice. We definitely have our new high here on the S&P. Man, great context for a trade. And if the Nasdaq wasn't fooling around so much, I just would have left my stop in the original location down here and let it play it out, and then I would be taking profits around here. But you got to play things close to the vest when not everything's lining up, and the fact that the Nasdaq has been really weak today is kind of a warning sign. If the Nasdaq's not participating in an S&P move, you can't really trust that move with the same degree. So I don't feel bad at all for getting out for $33. I'd much rather get out for $33 win than take a full loss, right? All right, so now with the Nasdaq again dropping, I am expecting the S&P to follow suit this time, as we do have a break and a new extreme of this trend. According to price action rules, that's the most likely scenario here. You have a move up, a break, last attempt at a new high, and now is when we expect a correction, a reversal. We still do have this gap down here that has not been filled, so that might be a possible area that the market chooses to go. Toad asking if it's a valid second entry long if there's a wider trend. Yeah, totally. But again, you know, you gotta look at the Nasdaq and the fact that it is getting rejected again off the highs. We've had some pretty steep moves down. It's just, this doesn't look solid at all to me. This looks like we're about to just drop down. So if we were to draw a wider trend on the S&P, it would have to be something along these lines. And these secondary trends after a big run up are not super reliable. So I would not take the first second entry long that appears. I'd wait for a higher low confirmation if you're still trying to get long. How we doing out there, guys? Did anyone snag that long that I took? I know Daryl got it. I don't know if anyone else did. Curious, because that was a really solid trade. Hope you guys were able to see that in real time, why I would take that. All the analysis on it. If you played it better, you know, maybe you left your stop the whole time. You could have had a good little scalp there. Yeah, I think that's the right mindset to have there, Toad. One chart's telling you one thing and another chart's telling you another thing. It's a good time to be cautious, so not a bad move at all, skipping on that. Nasdaq's being a little stubborn though. We technically do have low, higher low, higher low, higher low, high, higher high, higher high. So it looks pretty bad, but there is a very slight bullish bias happening here. Nice, DJ. That's the way to play that one for sure. Failed second entry long, maybe setting up here. That's really tempting to take. I'm not. Nasdaq dropping. I think this failed second entry long is going to print. Doesn't look like I'm going to get filled though. We'll cancel that order. I don't know if anyone was able to jump in on that one. That was kind of quick. That's kind of quick. But I think that's a solid trade if you were quick enough to play that. You had to move up, break new high, so our uptrend is played out. The Nasdaq very weak. The Nasdaq starts dropping, and then you have a first entry long, second entry long, failure, bearish bar below the EMA. That easily went 1-to-1, I think. 2.25, 2.25. Yep. So a little bit more of an advanced trade for sure. So I wouldn't recommend that everyone do those, but everything setting up, that was actually pretty good. And the Nasdaq, you actually could, it did have a second entry short. Could have played it. Not a great signal bar, but you did have this move down, and then first entry short right there, second entry short right there. But the problem is it was closing above the EMA, so it wasn't perfect. If that was a red bar, I would have taken that for sure. Daryl failures are great. I mean, they do produce very big moves, but I would not advise anyone to really try to trade them unless you are already consistently profitable with the trend second entries. That is because failures are quite nuanced, and you can get kind of trigger happy on them and start seeing them everywhere when they're, they only work in very specific circumstances when a trade is played out. So yeah, if you're not consistent with regular second entries, I wouldn't bother with failures. They will likely just make you lose more money. Neil says the second entry long didn't show on my chart. The high of the bar and your chart was the same as the highs of the previous two candles on my chart. Gotcha. Are you talking about the failure here, this one, or earlier? Charts are always going to be different, right? And so if a setup doesn't appear on your chart, don't take it. And also the failed second entry long. Gotcha. Yeah, make sure you're clearing your cache every morning and reloading your charts every morning. That will ensure that your bars are up to speed, that you're getting the best data. Nothing funky going on. Toad, yes, there would be a triple test, but it's not the right context. This trend is already played out. Move up, break new high, you have to wait. So we're not looking for longs yet until this bearish trend plays out. So we want to see this move down, break new low. Okay, now we can consider a long. But right now I would say it's not the best context for it. But yes, you do have 1, 2, 3 tests at this level. Maybe you backtest those and find that that's a good system. I have not found any success with that kind of setup, but That's just me. Jesse says, looking like a big old range. On the Nas, for sure. Zoom out on that bad boy. Yeah. Yeah. I like a buy down here. If we can come and test these levels again. I like a buy there on the Nasdaq. S&P overall still bullish too, so I would also favor a buy here once this bearish trend can play out. Right, here's that potential second move down on the S&P. I don't even know what's up with the Nasdaq today, man. This is really difficult price action to read. Nice trend here early, and then we've just had a big series of like drop, chop, 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 big spike, drop, big spike. I mean, this is looking bad. This is not a chart you want to trade. I mean, you could pretty clearly see this pattern here. So that, you know, if that's not a sign to not trade this pattern, I don't know what is, ladies and gentlemen. That chart pattern is definitely worth a like. Come for the trades, stay for the drawings. Yeah, still chopping around here. That does need a YouTube short, doesn't it? Fortunately, I was not recording that. I might have to recreate the moment. Actually, look. The other side of the thumb. The other side of the thumb might actually set up here. If prices go down, this pattern will be complete. Yeah, if prices go down from here, we're for sure gonna have our FU pattern by the Nasdaq. And then if prices can go backwards, then it'll really make sense. You know, if we can somehow go back in time, boom, baby. Well, I'm pretty convinced not to trade the Nasdaq until we get something more clear, but just so we're keeping tabs on it. We do have a move up, break new high, right around that range high, so this is likely where we will turn down. And I think, honestly, I would short, now that I'm mentioning, I think I would short a lower high here, as this has been very reverse heavy. We're right at this resistance. So we can come down below the EMA, get a nice lower high here. I think I might take that short. On the S&P, I'm still waiting for something. We're just chopping around at this area. And if the S&P can just hang around this area, we're going to get some good longs. Because we do now have the bearish cycle starting on the 10p indicator. Yeah, if we can get through that bearish cycle with no damage, the next bull cross is going to be big. Nasdaq is starting to get that drop, and like I said, if we get a really good looking lower high, I'll consider taking that. G insane, take a look at Nasdaq. I don't know what you mean by that. I have been looking at Nasdaq. Something specific? Yeah, so not getting that lower high. We pushed back above the EMA. Not interested in that short anymore. Gene says, well, the red candle that made 2 minutes ago. Yeah, that I was looking at. That's why I said I was interested in a short. Right, S&P finally getting that move down. This is what we need in order to be able to take a long if it sets up. This is where I'd go back to that Nasdaq chart. I didn't take the lower high, but now we have a chance for a failed second entry long. So if we can get one more little feeble attempt higher and a bear bar, but it looks like we're just going to be dropping off here. Woo! Look at that move. Flushed out on the S&P too. And this is why I was looking for that short on the Nasdaq. That was the move I was waiting for. And you can see that has happened several times today, so that's why I was looking for it. Move up, break new high, big flush. Move up, big flush, move up, big flush. S&P now has what looks like 2 measured legs down, so let's see if we can get back above the EMA. Then I'd be interested in a long, but I don't know. We might be headed for that gap fill. We'll see what happens there. Could be interested in a second entry short on the NAS. Better play would have been a short near the top because this has been kind of reversing after an impulsive move, but we'll see. See how this sets up.
Cherries, major run. No one had a run like limes. No one.
The S&P could develop into a larger downtrend. That's something we need to be watching for. But main bias is bullish. And this would be the second entry short failure here. We're below the EMA, so can't take it. Nas making a big move above the EMA. So that is, pardon me, that is helpful. We're long on the ES. The S&P is right at the EMA here. Pretty critical area. You know, we've already had 2 legs down of a bearish correction. We are right at a potential trend line. In order for the bull position to continue, this is where we need to break above. If we don't, we are likely headed to the gap fill, and we're going to have a little bit more lackluster price action. So hoping we can break above the EMA here, get some movement to the upside. We're like right below VWAP on SPY. The Qs are just getting above. So Nasdaq's actually starting to gain some strength here. And I'm getting a little bit more interested. Of course, we need to break above all that congestion. It's starting to look like it might have have the ability to do so. S&P not making it. Not making it above the EMA. Not able to get above the VWAP so far. Market's kind of stalling out here, guys. Need it to do something. There we go, a nice red candle. This could be the wider downtrend starting on S&P. Maybe headed towards the gap fill. Nasdaq still looking terrible. Still looking like just a nasty range. Even a range within a range. And I actually like a short on the S&P if this continues down and this channel holds. If we can get to below the previous high down in here and come back and test it, this would be a great area for a short looking for a move to that gap fill. Cool, here we go. Back below yesterday's high. Nice, Gene. Way to have conviction and stay in that thing. Yeah, Pylord, it's an indicator on Ninja. I believe. Yeah, just go to indicator. What is it called? Tick counter. Okay, so this wider downtrend is looking good, and we just need a pullback and a second entry short. Okay, here's our pullback, guys. Let's see how this looks. There's our first entry to the short side. Need one more pullback to the EMA. Second entry. So far, this kind of looks like one leg up, so you know, I'm not just gonna blindly take the second entry. Again, the visual aspect of this pattern is really important, so although we do have a move down here, it's all just kind of looks like one move. I'd prefer something like this. you know, very visual move down, maybe a red bar or two. Okay, so that's a better looking candle for the entry there. So now that's what I'm considering a first entry. Looks good visually. Now we just need one more pullback and a bearish bar right here at the trend line. And that's what I'll be interested in. Come on, baby. Pull back one more time. One more time. Alright, here we're getting our pullback. Now the key here, guys, is we don't want to see it happen too strongly, right? We don't want a huge green bar just launching above the EMA. I mean, it has to look good for bulls, but we don't want real strength, you know what I mean? So far so good. This wasn't too big of a bar. We could easily come up here and get that short entry we're looking for. Come on, baby. Don't drop yet. Come back to the trend line. So if we don't get this bar at the trend line, there's going to be no trade for us, and that's totally fine. EDL saying it could be a failed second entry long in the 10K. Ooh, interesting. Double confirmation. Let's check it out. Hey Johnny, one other thing that I would try if I were you, go to data series and make sure you have this checked, break at end of day. If you have that checked, we should have pretty much the same bars. If it's not checked, that's why you're getting a difference, because then it just depends on how many days you're loading. So go into data series, make sure that is checked. It's checked. Okay, bummer, dude. Oop, hold on, we got the black screen of doom going here. Here we are. We're back. Johnny, here's another thing. I want to make sure you're helped here. So, I don't know what you're doing when you're clearing your cache, but there's several folders to delete. So it's not just the cache itself, but also, let me pull it up so I can remember all the things I delete. So in the cache folder, or in the database folder, DB, Documents NinjaTrader DB, there's several folders. One is the cache. There's another one that says day, another one that says minute, there's another one that says tick. Delete all the folders in all of those. So delete everything in the cache folder, everything in the day, everything in the minute, everything in the tick. So it should be like 4 folders you're deleting the contents of. I would bet you got a lot of data backed up in some other, like maybe the day or the minute or something. Man, we are so close to the EMA here, just not quite getting back to it. Yeah, Johnny, I probably wouldn't delete the whole DB folder. I've never tried it though, so maybe you give it a whirl as long as you're ready to put it back in there. Come on, man, it's not getting back to the EMA for us. We're still right at yesterday's high. While we're waiting, guys, make sure you give this stream a like. Looks like we only have about 18 likes with 40 people. Half of y'all are asleep. I would appreciate you taking the time. It's a simple gesture, just a little click of a button. And if you're not subscribed, I mean, what are you even doing with your life? You know what I mean? Oh, forgot to mention that the Apex sale, 2 more days, and that's it. This one has kind of gone under the radar. It hasn't been talked about a lot, but it is a super good sale. 80% off everything, but the 150k, the 250k, and the 300 have even more of a discount. The 300's up to like 93% off, so that's insane. 1 day pass, you get a 300k account for 40 bucks, pass in 1 day, and there's the the funded account activation discount too for a whole month. So you can get that 300k account now, take your time, you could do it for a whole month and still get a discount on the activation fee. So don't sleep on this deal, guys. It's only going for a couple more days. Still waiting for that entry here. We still could get that short. Alright, well, our short is looking less and less hopeful unless we get a really solid pullback here. It's not out, it's, it's not completely done, right? Because we have not made a new low. Here's our new low. We haven't made it yet, so we're still got a possibility. Once it makes that new low, though, we'll have to pause on that. All right, we made a double bottom there, so that is going to be good enough for me. Not really looking for the short anymore. So thanks guys for another great morning. Kickoff to hopefully a great week. I think it should be good with some solid news coming in on Thursday and Friday. We even have Papa Powell speaking tomorrow, so plenty going on. Earnings season's kicking off, so this could be a good week. Again, thank you everybody. I'll see a lot of you over in the Discord for the rest of the day, and catch the rest of you mañana. Adios.